Keith Hillier with us, Wayne Wilson I'm about to introduce. Keith, a spectacular day and a rather tragic day at Flemington. We'll talk more about that later.
Yes, that was in the jumping arena, Bruce. There was tragedy at Flemington, but there was action aplenty on Wayne's patch, because the Stradbroke handicapper full field and once again creeping into racing after race criticism by one jockey against another, Wayne.
Yes, there was, Keith. Larry Cassidy was critical of Mick Dittman on Cape Stad in an incident coming up towards the home turn, but Dittman was cleared of any blame by the stewards after the running of the race when they inquired into it. It was just a racing incident. Cabora on the inside was squeezed up by Cape Stad, and Cabora was very unlucky not to have won the Stradbroke handicap, because that incident cost him, in the estimation of the chief steward, a length and a half. Now, you'll notice coming up towards the corner, that's Cabora just in front of the grey horse, and you can see Cassidy standing high in the irons at this stage, ripping him out of trouble there. Another unlucky runner in the Stradbroke was Baggio, the grey and the blue colours. He doesn't get clear until the final 200 metres of the race. Now, All Our Mob is slipping up to go to the lead. Simon Stad is on the outside, chasing All Our Mob. There's Cabora on the inside. Now, he is getting a clear run from the 200 metre point onwards. All Our Mob is swept to the lead. Cabora trying to get through on the inside. Loudspeaker Sublimate still there. Simon Stad, and look at Baggio the last little bit. He flew through, but All Our Mob was able to win the Stradbroke handicap.
He too's been unlucky, All Our Mob. I mean, he was flattening the Doom and 10,000. Weights were raised, Wayne, but it was a pretty fair performance with 55. Going through the records, in recent years, only Rough Habit and Campaign King have had more weight and won. Yes,
it was a nice performance and a great effort under that weight, Bruce. A lot of people are of the opinion that the Stradbroke didn't boast a great deal of class, but they ran a class Stradbroke field time. It was only a half-second outside of the track record.
Yeah, it was a tidy performance. Pat Welsh caught up with Brian Guy, who trained his first Group 1 winner yesterday.
Brian, congratulations. First Group 1 must be a big thrill.
Oh, it's a tremendous feeling, yes. It's great to come up here and win a Group 1 race.
Been the consistent horse of the carnival?
Yes, he has. He's done everything right since he's been here, and he's really done well up north.
Tough campaign too.
Well, he's been in work since the 10th month of last year, so and they all had him down as a speed horse and a fresh horse, so he's proved all the experts wrong at the moment.
Brian Guy, Kevin Moses, the jockey, Grant Cooksley. What a run he's had, Wayne, with 3 Group 1s in 8 days, riding tenner, getting a rails run in the Derby.
Yes, a lot of success to Cooksley during our carnival here, but this really is the ride of the carnival and probably the ride of Cooksley's life. He gets a miracle run on the inside on tenner, and he went from about midfield to hit the lead in the space of about 50 metres. There he is, bursting through on the inside. Now, Paris Lane is into the clear on the outside. He had to cover a little bit of ground coming around the corner, but he had his chance. He had the full length of the straight to run down tenner, but tenner too strong for Paris Lane over the final stages. Tenner in front of Paris Lane trying very hard. What a Poet in third place over on the inside, kicking on, and Noble Otto's run was very good, but tenner, a great ride by Cooksley to win the Derby.
Broke a 22-year drought for the owners, the Ingham brothers, for a classic win, Wayne. I thought there was a great difference in the prices. Tenner, who was an informed 3-year-old, was 12 to 1 into 10s, and Paris Lane very short at 5 to 4.
Well, we all thought Paris Lane was a pretty good thing in the race, Keith, following his great weight for age form here, but Tenner's performance in winning the Rough Habit Plate, sprinting home very quickly that day, was a great trial for the Stradbroke, but we just didn't put him in the same class as Paris Lane, but those who fancied him did finish up with the good odds there.
What about my favourite horse? Gee, I wish Maxie was here today. Old Thrifty Reserve. He's 9 going on 10. I did rubbish him one day. Dear old fellow. I was about to say, Wayne, was this a pretty weak field with an old, nearly 10-year-old, but he is a grand old horse, isn't he?
Yes, he's a great campaigner, Bruce, and this was a lovely ride too by Scriven. He gave him a cosy run on the rails, and he sized up the situation beautifully at the 600-metre point. A lot of people thought he might have gone a bit early, but Regent Spirit at 200 to 1 shot was going to go back on top of him. He didn't want to risk that, so he took him away from the rails. He slipped to the lead. Umpala looked a danger halfway down the straight. That's him in the gold cap on the outside coming after Thrifty Reserve. Looks a danger here. Trivia Lass on the inside of Umpala and Antwerp late, but Thrifty Reserve, he's a great old horse, and he kicked back too strongly and he was able to get the prize, and he'll run in some of our cup races up here, races like the Ipswich Cup and the Tattersalls Cup.
Well, he's a tough old fellow. Tell us tomorrow, firstly the Brisbane Cup, Sub-Zero, second favourite behind Potential Star. Your tip?
I'm tipping Potential Star, but I've got a doubt in my mind about Potential Star at 3,200 metres. I would dearly love to see Sub-Zero win the race. This is to be his swan song tomorrow. He retires after the Brisbane Cup and will act as clerk of the course at Flemington.
Oh, great news. And what about the Castlemaine? Can Brave Warrior bounce back? As a terrific lineup.
It is a great field, isn't it? Brave Warrior, I can't go against him. I'm sticking with him. After I've done all the replays from last week, I must admit I was a touch disappointed with his performance. And I put the watch on Arrow Origin. She ran the fastest final 3 at Eagle Farm last Saturday, so she's going to take plenty of beating, but my heart tells me that Brave Warrior is still the horse to beat in the Castlemaine tomorrow.
Well, a week ago, Wayne, I said that Origin would finish ahead of Brave Warrior again, and nothing's changed. The filly's my selection.
OK, well, the 10-cent bet is still on, Keith.
OK.
Keith, what about Balmoral Bow yesterday? It was a terrific day for John Marr. 3 winners, Restitution, 1 in Chelsworth. This horse, didn't he sprint home well from down the outside? He looked little hope at this stage. He's got black and white colours with a red cap, I think, and he just accelerates brilliantly when it counts.
That Street Ruffian in front, Bruce, and the outside rail was favoured down the straight. We got the guide with an earlier race there. But Brett Preble, riding to instructions, brings Balmoral home after giving what looked to be a break that could not be made up. Brings him home to win, and Street Ruffian on the outside rail, the grey, hanging on to be beaten in the neck. Yeah, look at Balmoral go. He was coming back a grade or 2, having contested the Goodwood handicap. A good effort, though, because he was also coming back in distance. 3 wins to John Marr. Stephen King was part of 2 of those. He also rode another winner, and now he's only 2 off the pace in his chase after Damien Oliver.
Yeah, that's going to keep a lot of interest going, I think, during the winter, not only with the jumps. The Belmont Stakes was run today in America, only about 2 or 3 hours ago. Now, the 2 horses that fight are out are Go for Gin on the inside, who won the Kentucky Derby. The horse on the outside is Tabasco Cat, who'd won the Preakness. This is the 3rd leg of the Triple Crown. This is the distance race, 2,400 metres. Tabasco Cat coming home to win from Go for Gin. So he won 2 of the 3 Triple Crown races. And the form stood up very well, with Go for Gin being most consistent all the way through, but Tabasco Cat being the better stayer on the day and getting home to win.
There's victory waves there too.
Oh, they love it, don't they? So the big winner there was Tabasco Cat. Keith, what about the falls yesterday? Jamie Evans quite critical of the steeplechase the jumps, saying they're too stiff at the top. This was Jamie Evans, by the way, in the hurdle race. Our running star apparently shying at a tractor and taking fright, and look at him go off and then go through the running rail.
Yes, he did shy, and Jamie thought it was at the tractor, and he ploughed through the running rail there. Jamie unscathed, but came back to scale in a pretty dark mood.
And this was this is very sad to watch. A college master who unfortunately is destroyed. But
yeah, that was a fatal fall, Bruce, and his rider Brett McDonald still in hospital.
Has there been criticism of the Flemington
There was criticism from some of the jockeys that the fences, the tops are too tough. But let it be said that yesterday's 2 falls had nothing to do with the tops of the fences. They are tough tasks, and maybe they will be looked at, but they could not be blamed for yesterday's mishaps.
And Wayne, in about 20 seconds, a hard question. Mick Dittman, he seems to be at a low ebb at the moment in terms of riding winners. Do you think he'll bounce back?
I'm sure he will. He's one of the great riders of the Australian turf.
Have you had a chance to chat to him over the last couple of weeks? There was an interesting article with Max Presnell during the week where he admitted that he was out of sorts a bit.
Yes, well, Mick's been away overseas. He's, I think, looking at another opportunity to ride in Hong Kong, or he's after an opportunity to ride in Hong Kong. No, I think he's one of the great riders of the Australian turf. I think he's just down a little bit at the moment, but look out, he doesn't bounce back.
Any other news from Brisbane?
No, except that we've all got our fingers crossed for Brave Warrior in the Castlemaine Stakes, and a little saying going around Brisbane, do not weaken on a warrior.
Do not weaken on a warrior. Well, I'm with Keith. I think Origin will beat him tomorrow. I think the filly will again be reasonable odds and come right over the top.
Well, I'm working with Wayne, he's parochial, and I'm working with you. You're unforgiving of age. Thrifty Reserve, please get off his back. If you're as agile and as competitive as him when you're quite human age to horses, you'll be doing fine.
I'll be your age then, Keith, 70. See you next week. Wayne, good calling tomorrow, and we'll catch you next Sunday.
OK, Bruce, thank you.
John Alexander's up next. We're going to talk about tennis.